Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us. June the 7th, 2025. We are live here at WCCO every Saturday for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Scott Ulmering of the Minnesota Real Estate Team, the WE Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus, myself, Ryan O'Neill, and of course, Mike Overson of Luminate Bank. We are here till 11 o'clock. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts, wherever you're catching us on social media. Scott, good morning to you there, buddy.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hopefully all of you are done with your continuing ed. I just started mine, so it's that time of year again for realtors. But anyways, appreciate you tuning in. Like Ryan said, we're going to kind of cover everything we do every week, which is what's going on from a real estate standpoint in the Twin Cities in Western Wisconsin, and kind of tell you what we think is going to be happening currently, which is kind of unusual.
Yeah.
And what we think is maybe going to happen through the end of the year.
Yeah. Again, thanks for tuning in. Mr. Mike is, I believe, busy. He's got a lot of kid events.
Kids.
Got a lot of kid events going on.
He's coaching, I think 2 sports.
Yeah.
So he's out for a few weeks.
And you know what? This is graduation party season.
Yep.
Lots of graduation parties going on this weekend, next weekend, following weekend. Yeah, a lot of things going up. Summer is here. You can see it. Summer's here, Scott.
Well, he's right in the thick of it too. When you're, and we had 5 kids, and when you got 5 kids between 8 years old and 13, it's just nonstop.
Keeps you going.
You're just a taxi driver.
Yeah, keeps you going. Thank you again for joining us wherever you're catching us on social media. Again, we'll be here until 11 o'clock. We're getting ready to go live on WCCO. Here in the studio with Ryan Perpich, who produces the show for us, does a great job, and is getting a haircut. Scott, we are opposed to this.
Well, we're taking up we're not going to allow it to happen.
We are allowing that. We're going to put him on. We're going to put him on camera here soon. But again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Saturday morning, June the 7th, 2025, and this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, a local show live here in studio at CCO, and every Saturday morning we're here from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. The show is hosted by a gentleman named Mike Overson. Mike is with Luminate Bank. Luminate Bank is a local bank, outstanding local trusted firm. And then also Scott Ulmering and myself, Ryan O'Neill, have done the show, hosted the show for a long time. We are with the Minnesota Real Estate Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. And again, we appreciate you joining us. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us by phone or text. That comes right to the studio here. Again, 612-294-6949. Scott, good morning to you there, buddy. How's the day starting out?
It is going well. Appreciate everybody tuning in, whether you're catching us on social media or old-fashioned way on radio and WCCO. We love that you are here. We love being here. We're going to talk everything real estate and mortgage related as it relates to the Twin Cities. You know, we're about our halfway point. You know, we're June. That's about 6 months through the year. Pretty good indication, I think, about what we thought was going to happen and kind of what we believe is going to happen moving forward. So again, appreciate tuning in. Don't be shy. 612-294-6949. You can text us there or call us there with any of your questions, or obviously if you're following on social media, just type in your questions and we'll handle them as they come.
Yeah, I got to give a special shout out to Miss Sue Marty. Sue is a longtime agent on the Minnesota Real Estate Team. She is getting married today. Her and Brad are getting married in Eagan. Brad is a wonderful guy, and just very happy for them both, for their family. Sue is a top-selling agent on our team every year. She makes our top producer trip that we do, and so very excited for them, Scott. And then also Scott Bouget. Scott is an agent on our team. He's got a big birthday today, so we're wishing Mr. Scott a happy birthday. A lot of good stuff going on there, Mr. Wolmering.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, congratulations to Sue. Those guys are definitely in love. We were just talking off air that there is hope after 50. So if you are out there and you are divorced and you're single, I've watched their relationship blossom over the last 4 or 5 years, and it does give you hope. So congratulations, those two.
The other quick thing is this is graduation party, and of course, with the team and a lot of graduation parties going on that I'm heading to, and I had an interesting chat. Was it last weekend or the weekend before with an older gentleman, probably in his 80s. And we were just sitting there. And of course, I didn't know a lot of people at the graduation party. So I was sitting next to him and chatting a little bit. And he was there with a gal. And I said, well, how do you guys know each other? Or tell me. And he said, hey, we met on Match.com.
That's so funny.
And I'm like, good for you. Good for you. And they were telling me about their relationship. And so it's, kind of a fun deal, Scott.
Yep, there's always love in the air. You just have to keep hunting it down, I guess.
Yeah, we've got a mortgage update. First segment here. Interest rates dipped a little bit this week, Scott. Not a lot. Very similar. They've been in the high sixes for pretty much, as long as we can remember here. For the whole year, they went above 7 for a little bit, but they're pretty steady. The high sixes, 6.824. is what they're showing this past week. Again, a slight dip year over year, slight dip from a week ago. And then when we look at real estate numbers here in this first segment, new listings, new homes for sale, Scott, up 5%. 1,412 new properties that came on the market. Good news for buyers out there, a little more inventory. Pending sales or accepted purchase agreements, very flat compared to last year, 1,153. It's up maybe 1%. It says 0.8%. And then the inventory continues to increase. It's up to 6.6%, 6.6% increase, 9,400 homes for sale. And then the last thought, Scott, here's one for you. Realtor.com shared this. 18% of the listings nationwide had a price reduction in April, up from 15.5% a year ago. And that's the highest share for April going back to 2016.
Yeah, it is, rates have been basically, let's call it 7. They've basically been at 7. And it's been there long enough where it's starting to kind of settle in to kind of be people's norm here. And I think that's why when you break the Twin Cities up into a couple, 3 different groups of housing, under 500 is still completely aggressive, very crazy. Again, as long as it's priced correctly. Under 500 is moving well. There's not as much there's not as much payment shock when you're buying a $440,000 house at 7%. As there is if you're buying a house from, let's say, 600 to $1 million. That's the price range that has gotten hurt the most, where I see the most price reductions, more time on market, is kind of that mid-range. And then over $1 million, which is crazy, we have 50% more showings this year to date than we did last year on properties over $1 million. So, and I would think that probably is because a lot of those buyers aren't really affected by the interest rates as much as somebody that is, that's buying at $600,000 or $700,000. If you're buying $1.5 million house, if your payment swings $400 or $500, yeah, it's not fun. But normally, if you're buying in that price range, it's more of an irritation than it is a stumbling block. If you're buying at 600 and your payment is $4,200 a month, that's a big payment every month.
Yeah, we're at the first break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at any point. We are live. We are local. You can call or text that number. Before the break, wanted to touch on a listing. Mr. Adam Benedict has one in Inver Grove Heights, Scott. 8379 Corcoran Circle, number 47. It's listed for $215,000. It's a move-in ready 2-bed, 1-bath townhome. It's got an open concept main level, brand new LVT flooring, spacious living room, updated dining room and kitchen, new lighting, countertops, range, a fridge, dishwasher, and there's a private patio off the living room. Great size bedrooms, and it's outstanding Inver Grove Heights location, easy access to shopping, restaurants, schools, parks. Check that one out, 8379 Corcoran Circle, number 47 in Inver Grove Heights for $215. Again, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us on social media. Scott, you remember the days of graduation parties, a lot of grad parties?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, back in the day when the kids were around that age, there was a ton. And I still get probably out to about half a dozen. I mean, I'm sure you go to 100 with everybody on the team. Everybody's got kids and you've got that obligation. I don't have to go. So I don't go to a whole lot of graduations anymore.
A lot of grad parties. I saw a kind comment from Mr. Eric Mullenberg. Eric, if you're watching us, hey, we need to bring you on the show, buddy. Eric is the longtime owner of Remax Advantage Plus. He is a wonderful human being. He is busy with 3 kids. He's got 3 young kids. Yes. What do you think about bringing Eric on the show here? We got to get him on here.
Well, it would definitely, the studio would get a lot better looking.
True. Very true.
We could bring him and Mike on the same day. We could exit.
How about him, Mike, and Walgrave?
Oh yes, there you go. That would be the Hollywood show.
That's a good idea. That'd be a really good idea.
Well,
Eric?
Only if you're into like 6 foot tall, dark, handsome guy. You know, we prefer the white, the white under 5'8", that kind of demographic.
Or the tall, kind of gangly, funny looking Irish guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, whatever works. I mean, whatever floats your boat. But Eric, that would be fun sometime. We're not letting you off the hook. With that. But you think about it, Scott. I saw a comment as well about home improvement. Again, the question always is what's the best home improvement? Number one home improvement for value, return on value. What do you think?
Paint, carpet, light fixtures.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the standard. You can do all of it cheap. I think you get 115% of your something like that.
Yeah.
115% of what you put into it, you get back. The hardest ones are any major remodel.
Yep.
So, you do a $200,000 kitchen remodel. If you capture 65% of that, you've done well. So whenever anybody's like, hey, we're going to sell our house, I think I'm going to finish my basement.
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because you finish it for 50, you get 32 out of it. That's not a winning. It's not a winning combination.
Yeah. Again, lots of folks joining us on social media. I want to say good morning to folks: Sarah, Nancy, Sandra, Emily, Jen, Mark, Charles, Thomas, Joseph. Thank you. We appreciate you guys wherever you're seeing us on social media. We're coming up. We're going back live here on CCO. And again, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. We do appreciate it.
That button.
Hey, welcome back, folks, to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend is going well. And Scott, I'm going to start a new little segment. Are you ready for this, buddy?
I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to call it the Minute of Hope in honor of the O'Neill Foundation of Hope. Going to share one little quick story, minute or less. Someone who reached out, maybe somebody we helped each week. This year we had a gentleman who was a victim of arson. Someone came and threw an accelerant on he and his neighbor's apartment's door. Apartments totally burned down. He lost 3 cats and lost most of his possessions.
Oh my gosh.
Was already in a very tight spot financially, was really living paycheck to paycheck. He used his security deposit to spend a week at a hotel, had nowhere to go. A kind friend of his reached out to the O'Neill Foundation of Hope, and collectively the foundation is helping him with 1 month's rent to help get him into a new place. The guy, think about that, somebody came and it was arson, and they haven't found the person. And so a wonderful guy. The O'Neill Foundation of Hope, again, you can visit o'neillhope.org. Every week we have folks who reach out that we help in our local community. Please don't ever hesitate to nominate anybody at o'neillhope.org.
Yeah, and I just saw the new O'Neill Foundation of Hope house
Yep.
has been opened. I saw your lovely mother standing out front in her pictures on Facebook. And what a cool idea that is for maybe somebody that haven't caught it. Explain that.
Yeah, we've got a house that the foundation is providing zero cost housing to folks who maybe have had a number of different bad things happen to them, loss of job, cancer diagnosis, medical issues. They need a spot to live, save a little bit of money, have a safe spot as well to allow them kind of transitional housing to springboard into a new place. It's an up and down duplex in Bloomington. And we've got 2 single parents moving in. Both have a number of children, very tough situations, but we're excited they're moving in. And Mom, it's in honor of Mom and Dad. My father's no longer living, Bob O'Neill, but Miss Kathy, of course, is.
She definitely is.
And she had, Scott, we were out this week. She had a black and yellow sweater on. And it's funny because we have a little sign in front of the house that's black and yellow. And I'm like, we got to go take a picture, Mom. So we didn't plan it, but it was good. Yeah, it was good. It was good. So thank you, everybody, for the support. And again, that's the O'Neill Hope Minute for the week.
Yeah, helping people. Again, we've talked about it a lot on the show, but it's just cool because it's helping local people that you can feel, see, touch. You know exactly where the money's going. It's just awesome. And I think over the next years, it's really going to take off because people have realized what a cool organization it is.
Yeah, appreciate it. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can reach us. We were talking about home improvements and return on that. Scott, you mentioned carpet paint. One other thing, the garage door replacement. I was just pulling this up. It shows that the average job cost is $4,500, but affects resale value by $8,700. They're showing it on this national contractor site as the highest. What do you think about that?
I think it's completely wrong.
Tell me more.
I think it's completely wrong. I don't think if you spend $4,500 on new garage doors, you're going to get $8,700. Garage doors are one of those things that if it's not grabbing your attention, it's a non-thing. So yes, I mean, if you've got holes in your garage doors and obviously they're not working, then of course, if you replace them, you're going to get a benefit for it. But outside of that, just replacing maybe unsightly garage doors with real pretty garage doors, I do not believe that you're getting 87% of that in return. No offense to whoever made the statement.
Actually, I did.
Well,
no.
then you can take all the offense in the world.
No, it is interesting because you see it a lot, and I think it's important. Again, talk to your real estate agent before you are looking to do different things to your home. Scott and I, we've talked about it a lot over the years, that depending upon your neighborhood, your location, your price point, your school district, there is a limiting return on what you're going to get, and vice versa. Maybe you're in a really hot school district. Maybe you're in a really hot neighborhood, and some of these improvements could really give you bang for your buck, Scott.
Yeah, that's right. It's it's one of those things where yeah, well, listen to your real estate agent, because again, I disagree with that statement.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree in things of, let's say that your interior is painted a really, really dark color that makes the home feel smaller. Repainting it is always a really good idea. Light fixtures are relatively cheap for an entire 4,000 square foot 2-story. You can replace light fixtures with stuff that looks really cool for $2,500. You're going to get a bang out of that buck. But yeah, unless the garage doors are falling down, I don't think that you're going to get that kind of a return on it. I'm not sure where they got their information from. It's the same thing without exterior siding. I've heard people make arguments that you get 120%. So you put $30,000 worth of siding on your house and you get 120% of that back. I totally disagree with that. There are some assumptions people make when they're buying a house. The windows work. The AC works, the furnace works, the roof is in good shape. So if you go to a house and somebody's like, Scott, guess what? It's awesome. I just put $90,000 worth of windows in, $6,000 in a new furnace. I replaced the deck for $10,000. So we just put $110,000 in. What does that do to our house? And it does nothing to your house except help you sell it. People understand that the window should work. Now you have windows that work. They believe you should go on a walk on your deck without falling through it. So now you have a deck that can do that. So you're not getting a return on that because it's an assumption that those things are already in working order.
Yeah, I didn't get to it last week, but my brother Dan, who's a longtime WCCO listener, sent a text to me after the show. We were discussing just market time and helping sellers understand, how quickly homes should sell. And you had shared the national statistic about the average realtor's home sells in 6 days or less.
Yeah.
And I think for people, that's always hard thinking about, wow, did they give it away? What's going on there? But part of what we're seeing in our market, and again, we shared that in the first segment with price reductions, the largest number of price reductions nationally since 2016, a lot more open houses. You can see that. We can see it with our team again, and that generally is a function of if sellers are not seeing as much activity as they want. Hey, let's be sure we get out 2-3 open houses. And so, Scott, it's pricing is crucial.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to give one seller, if you're listening and you are a seller or going to be a seller here quickly, the best advice I would give you is if you think in terms of, hey, Scott, I can always come down. If that sentence comes out of your mouth, really get an agent you trust, because you are going to lose money on your house comparative of what you're doing. And what I mean by that is, hey, your house is worth $475. Well, let's list it at $525. I can always come down. And when people say that, what they believe is, if I wait and I'm patient, I'm going to get closer to that number. And it is the complete opposite. In this market where everything, the media has you thinking that everything sells in 5 minutes. Now we know that's not true, but that's the perception. If you are a house that's not selling in 5 minutes, or like the example with real estate agents in 6 days, you have missed your number. Now, again, you start getting into $2, $3, $4 million houses, it's a different animal. I'm talking meat and potatoes from 200,000 to $1.5 million. That number, when your agent's doing it, if you don't have 250 to 400 saved searches, which is a valid market, you've missed it. Don't go on the market at that number. It is going to sit, and then you're going to have to reduce. And if you reduce in this market, you're on the wrong side of that coin that you do not want to be on.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, of course, like anything. You don't want to give it away. You want to get the most money for it.
You can't.
Yeah.
You cannot give it away.
Yeah, and I think the important thing for people to remember is we have, again, historically low inventory in the Twin Cities, historically low. And so there are a lot of unmet buyer needs. A lot of agents with great buyers out there who are like, we want to move and we can't find anything. And so if it is something is priced correctly, you are going to get strong demand on that, Scott, and oftentimes multiple offers. And with appraisals, things have to appraise nowadays.
Yeah, I'll give you a real quick example. In the last 3 weeks, we had a home that the value on it was $485. The sellers did not want to go over $450. We took them out to look at other homes, and they were just comfortable that $450 was the number. Now $485 was our number. And so again, it goes to, can you give a house away? So we priced it at $450, 88 showings, 35 offers, and goes $115,000 over list price. Now, most of the offers were $485, $495, but 3 were $525, $535, and $560. So the premise is, oh my gosh, you priced that at $450, you gave it away. You cannot give it away. The pressure in this market will eat it up. So error on that side, not on the side of, oh my gosh, we have to reduce this thing $5,000. That is not where you want to be.
Again, before the break, Miss Laura Antolik has a listing in Lakeville, Scott. This one is 9455 Livery Lane, priced for $1.1 million. It's a 4-bed, 3-bath rambler. It's got 2.52 private acres. And she says there's an amazing chef's kitchen, custom cabinets, granite countertops, beautifully landscaped with yard with perennial gardens and irrigation system. You've got a limestone fire pit area, walkout lower level, 3 additional bedrooms in the lower level, newly remodeled Jack and Jill bathroom. You've got a new roof, furnace, heat pump, maintenance-free deck, radon systems. She said it's a true gem. Check that out, 9455 Livery Lane. You know that one, Scott, in Lakeville.
I do know that one. It's an exceptional property, and Laura is an exceptional agent. That one is really nice for $1.1 million. It's a really nice property.
Yeah, again, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We're at the halfway point. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts about anything. 612-294-6949. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Yeah, that's hard to understand sometimes with the pricing piece. Had a comment come in. This one just asking us, guys, should I be waiving my home inspection? There's no details on the price point. We are seeing some, in some situations, inspections being waived. It will depend also maybe on if there are other offers on the property or not, the price point. Some people do the walk and talk inspection. I know Ruben does that with Structure Tech. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I would never tell anybody to waive their inspection, but there's risks in everything you do in life. There's calculated risks. And if there's a property that you're writing on that's $400,000 and there's 15 offers on it, and you write a home inspection, you're not getting that house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is there a needle in a haystack possibility that you will? Sure. But to base a logical decision, 15 offers on a house, 40% of those are going to waive the home inspection. That's who the seller is going to go with. So, you need to evaluate. Your agents looked at the foundation. You've looked at the roof. You've looked at the big deal killers.
Yeah.
And if they're in good shape, what is the risk really? $1,500 one way, $2,000 the other. My worst inspection that I've had over 27 years was $15,000. And so, when you start to think in terms of that, what is the real downside?
Yeah.
Versus you have to wait another 6 months and the house goes up, another 3%. You're going to spend a heck of a lot more if it takes you 6 months to buy something than if you were to waive your inspection. And let's say there was a faulty window for, $800. It's money.
Had a nice comment. David said, worked with you guys on a few cleanouts. Dave's Bull Scrap LLC. Great team and great people. Thank you, David. You do a great job. We're grateful to have worked with you and your team. And Shelby, thanks for your comment. She said she listed a 2-story 2020 built in Mankato, 4-bed, 4-bath, 3-car attached garage, year-round climate control, 6-foot white vinyl fence. It's in Mankato, 2021 Blue Stem Drive for $499. Thanks for joining us on the show, Shelby. Sounds like a great listing. Welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We appreciate you joining us and hope your weekend is going well. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Deb Lazinski has got a listing in Hudson, 2001 Stone Pine Avenue in Hudson, listed for $550. It is a custom-built Hans Hagen home in the Stone Pine community, 4-bed, 2-bath, 3-car garage, finished. It's got additional storage above the garage. It's impeccably clean, Deb says. Open floor plan, abundance of natural lighting, and the roof was replaced in 2022. Newer mechanicals on that one, Scott. Move-in ready. Again, 2001 Stone Pine Avenue in Hudson. Be sure to check that one out. And then one other one, Scott, in St. Paul, 1085 Bush Avenue. Adam Benedict has this one for $370. It is a 4-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage home. It's in the heart of St. Paul. Many original turn-of-the-century details in this one. Stained glass windows, large built-in buffet, exquisite staircase, a large kitchen with a huge butler's pantry. And then there's a newly constructed two-car garage, which has got a bonus room or a flex room above the garage, and the bonus sun porch on the upper level of the home. It says you'll find a wonderful blend of historic charm in this 1910 built home. Again, 1085 Bush Avenue, Scott, in St. Paul, $370,000. Also had a text say, do you guys sell farms or cabins at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. If it's real estate, we sell it. And depending on where you're at, sometimes you might need to phone a friend. We have 230-ish agents on the team. So pretty much we have an expert in any area that you live in Minneapolis, Wisconsin, and so on. So
phone a friend.
Yeah, phone a friend. So my point is, if you have a place up on the Whitefish chain, I'm probably personally not going to take that listing, but I will make sure that that I piggyback with somebody that that knows the lake better. You get into specifics like that. It's important to have somebody in the area.
Hey, before we grab Angela's call here, if you are out there and you are currently farming and you're listening to us, call into the show. I had a wonderful chat at a grad party here very recently about a longtime farmer. We work with people, helping them, of course, with all kinds of real estate, but I'm curious, what are you finding in the farming world? This gentleman had some real specific feedback that I'll share about what's life like as a farmer right now. If you're listening, I'm curious, just wondering, we're curious what's going on, but we got a caller here. We're going to go to Angela. Angela, thanks for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and how can we help?
Hi, this is Angela from Excelsior. And my question is, our kids are grown, we're looking at downsizing. How important is it to have our house ready to sell, having everything updated, or is it okay to sell as is?
Great question. This is Scott Wolmering. I'll take the first part of that. You can piggyback on it. It depends a lot on your price range. If you're in a price range that is going to get gobbled up regardless, so I'll just use 500 and under. If you're in that price range, you can put too much money into it because you really don't have to. I mean, there's so much pressure that you can have a few chinks in the armor here and there. If you're in that, that 600 to $1 million range, it gets a little bit more specific. That's a little bit more executive buyer that kind of wants what they want. They don't like to give in too much. They'll pass. They'll go to something else. So then, then getting in a little bit more wired tight makes sense. And then definitely over $1 million. A lot of times those people do not give at all. And so you want to make sure that you're covering everything you can to appeal to the masses when you get there. But so again, we would be more than happy to come out and take a peek at it, give you some advice. But that's my first thoughts.
Yeah, I think again, having someone stop out just to take a look and just analyze some of those improvements, some of those items, and how that's going to affect your market value. Obviously, that's a lot of what we do as a team, as agents. There's certainly never any obligation to do that. But Wayzata, I mean, that's a beautiful area. I would tell you, if there's a top 5, kind of primo, where do people want to live? People love Wayzata. And so with that city, school district showing up on MLS, you're already going to have strong demand on it. And Scott, a lot of upside with Wayzata.
Well, yeah, and remember this, we talk a lot, obviously, about the market conditions that we've kind of been in over the last 3 years, but this is the 3rd best sellers market in the history of Minnesota. We're in it right now. So you're going to max out with whatever the market will be willing to give you for the house. So then it comes down to making sure you're with an agent that markets correctly, that prices it correctly, to make sure that you're appealing to the masses. Because 2 offers, you're going to get heck of a lot more than 1. 10, you're going to get a heck of a lot more than 2. And so positioning your house in that framework is what you want to look at.
Yeah, we appreciate you listening to the show, though. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for joining us. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can really join us at any point in regards to any type of real estate. That text that was asking about, do we sell farms or cabins? Absolutely. Cabin, thinking about cabin world, Scott, summer, we're getting into it, and, limited demand, living on water.
They're not making any more of it.
Yeah. So it is. And again, if you are, maybe you're a parent to somebody young, or maybe you're a young person, you're thinking, boy, I can never buy a house. I can never get into this. Try to find a way to buy something. If I could give you the best advice, if I could go back in time and bonk my 20-year-old self on the head, it would say to start saving a little bit, saving $20 a week, $50 a week, whatever it is. Try to save a little bit and buy something as soon as you can, because what happens is we are in a good appreciating market in the Twin Cities. Yes, prices are high, but over 25 years, Scott, everyone has told me, literally, I think almost every year, prices are high.
Yeah, I know.
And so they're not going down. Okay. And again, you can build some wealth for you, for your family, for just by buying something. It may not be perfect. The old House of Hope is on Lindale.
That's right.
Lindale's a busy street, but that has appreciated a ton over the years. Scott, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I go back to when I first got licensed in 1998. I took an investment real estate class, and the gentleman that was teaching it owned about 40 rental properties, and he said, if I could give you the best advice ever to everybody sitting in this room, is go out to a neighborhood, take a dart, throw it at a house, and go buy that house. That's as deep as much as you need to think about it. He said, what happens is people get into, am I buying at the right time? Is this one, is there too much deferred maintenance? Is it going to appreciate the right amount? And all of a sudden, then you go through month after month after month, and you don't buy anything. And if you think back to 2001, if you were looking at a $140,000 house in 2001 and you bought 6 months later, the same house was $180,000. So, we're not in that kind of an appreciating market, but nonetheless, it's don't overthink it. If it cash flows a little bit or covers your mortgage, go buy it. Get in the habit of owning real estate. It's a long-term deal. It's not, you're not winning the lottery. You're not pulling pull tabs. It's a long-term deal. So whether it happens in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or in Ryan's example, over 20 years of owning these properties, they go in the right direction.
Yeah, again, even if you feel like you bought at a bad time. And so just think about it. I get it. Things are expensive now, but just a little bit every day. Maybe you save an extra little bit here. And again, you can use FHA to buy 3.5% down. You could buy a duplex, a 3-unit or a 4-unit being an owner occupant. So you could even buy something, collect some rent to minimize your monthly expenses. But the people that I've met, Scott, that have built a lot of wealth through different things, seems like they own a lot of real estate. And frankly, there's tax benefits. There's all different types of reasons to do it. But again, whether you work with us, whether you work with our friends at whatever real estate company, Edina Realty, Coldwell Banker, just go do it. Go do it. That's what we say.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've heard through the years, wow, this one only cash flows $200. This one only cash flows $300. The cash flow is great. That's great. But you're buying an asset. If the house is $400,000, you're buying an asset that is going to appreciate at $400,000. Let's call it 5% a year. In order for you to get 5% on $400,000, you'd have to have $400,000 cash in an investment account getting that. That's why you buy real estate, because you're putting a minimum amount down to buy a big asset that is appreciating at that level. And that's why you buy real estate. Yeah, again,
612-294-6949. This one is from a veteran. Thank you for your service. There's no name on this one, but just saying, are you seeing some VA offers accepted in the market? I am. I'm seeing some. Absolutely. Again, zero down, Scott.
Yeah. In fact, I just accepted a VA offer on a home that I sold on Lac Lavon in Burnsville, and it was a $700,000 house, and the buyer was FHA. Now, I will admit that's the first one that I've actually had go through probably in the last 3 to 4 years. So it's still tough sledding. It gets a lot tougher when you're in the under 500 range, where you're competing against 5, 10, 15 offers. VA is hard to get through. FHA is hard to get through because there are issues with appraisals and so on. But overall, if you're in a little bit higher price range where everything is not selling in 4 seconds, we are seeing VA. And VA is the best loan. It's got the lowest default rate of any loan out there.
Yeah, we're up against the final break here. Before we do, Miss Jen Tischletter has got a great one down in Jordan, 1072 Shoreview Drive for $464,990. It is 4 bedrooms plus a loft, and she says this almost new 2-story. It's a great lot, sunset views, pond in the back, smart home technology. There's an EV charger in the 3-car garage. You got an unfinished basement with space for the 3rd bedroom. It's the Bridle Creek neighborhood, community pool, neighborhoods, parks, and trails. Be sure to check that out. That is, again, 1072 Shoreview Drive in Jordan. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. Brian, thanks for your nice comment as well. Scott, what do we think for the summer, going into the summer here? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I was just looking at the numbers and as a team, and it's pretty consistent of what it was last year.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna have that. I think it's going to be relatively consistent. I think that rates are going to probably stay right around that 6.5% to 7% rate. So no one's going to get a whole lot of relief there. I think that, we had a little bit of a boom at the beginning of the year because people had kind of gone through 2 seasons of these rates.
Yeah.
Maybe didn't pull the trigger and finally are like, look, we need to buy something.
Yeah.
And so they got out there and just said, we're going to have to deal with this and refinance later. And if you listen to the show enough, you understand that we're big advocates in buying in a market where you're buying the value of the property. You buy a house for $500,000, it's actually worth $500,000. Rates drop to 3%. You buy a house for $500,000, it's really worth $425,000. So you're upside down on that property before you go because you bought that payment. So again, buying at value, refinancing when it goes down, so you get a more comfortable payment. That's what you want to look at doing.
Yeah, again, really very good advice. Again, Mike Overson, Luminate Bank. Mike and his team are really doing a nice job helping. I've seen purchase agreements under 100,000, properties under 100, all the way up to, again, spendy stuff. Scott's got that, $2.5 million listing. So Mike is working with everybody at all price points. Again, local lenders, very important to be working with a local lender, trusted lender. Do they close on time? Oh, those are all important factors, again, to remember in your offer as you're submitting that, because sellers, listing agents will be looking at that. We do still see some offers with national lenders, harder to get those approved, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you when I represent a seller and I have multiple offers on a property, I have 10, 15, 20 offers on a property. Obviously, I'm looking at the number. I'm looking at ease of sale. I'm looking at the least problems that could possibly occur. And so if I have an out-of-state lender and I have 15 offers, they go to the bottom of the pile. And then obviously we'll work through it based on pricing and so on. But having the money arrive, trust me, if you've ever been in a situation where you have buyer A that's got a truck that's loaded in the driveway that wants to go into house number 2 because it's supposed to close at 10, but now it's not going to close till 2 days later because the money didn't get there.
Yeah.
Everybody hates everybody. Everybody hates you.
They're not happy.
They're not happy. So you only have to go through that one time to where you go to a Mike Overson to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. We're going back live on CCO. Thank you again for joining us wherever you're catching us, whether you've seen us for a minute of today or watching the whole show. We do appreciate you joining us. Hope your weekend's going well. Scott, we got a couple last listings here. Mr. Kieran Houlihan has one in North Branch, 8220 383rd Street, up in North Branch for $332. Kieran says this is Pond Side Perfection in North Branch. It's a 1.5 stories of new, set in an idyllic location. It's a half-acre lot, and it's 2023 built. Bought in 2024. Relocation only makes this one possible, work relocation. There's a 1-year builder touch-ups have been done, so you can still get that 2 and 10-year warranties. You've got open concept kitchen, dining, living room, knotty alder shaker cabinets, gleaming granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. There's an oversized 500-foot garage, fits 2 cars plus a workbench or a hobby. He's got some open houses today. Kieran's got one today, Saturday, 2:15 to 5, Sunday, tomorrow, 1:30 to 3. And he says, go visit Kieran, our Australian realtor here in the Twin Cities. Again, it's 8220 383rd Street in North Branch. He's an Aussie.
He is an Aussie.
Yeah, Kieran, Mr. Kieran. Doing an awesome job. Last one here is Bill Ebert. Bill's got one in Edina, 149.9, Scott, for this condo, 6423 Colony Way, number 2G. It is 1 city block from Southdale Fairview Medical Campus. It's close to Lake Cornelia, Southdale, Galleria. You got an outdoor pool located on the backside of the property. Lots of updates, paint, carpet, stainless steel appliances. 149.9 for a condo in Edina, 6423 Colony Way, 2G. Scott.
Very nice. Very nice. One of the questions that we get all the time, because we talk a lot about, the importance of pricing your property, and I'll have sellers that will call, off air and say, hey, Scott, we've been on 3 months. The house isn't selling. We've had 25 showings. We're not sure. Your house is overpriced. If you're out there right now and you're wondering, why is this happening? And you've had 15 offers and the feedback has been, oh my gosh, you're incredible. And it's a great, great house. And it's just not the right fit. And it is overpriced, period. I know that's hard to listen to, but that is the reason. 15 people that showed your house are not writing on it. In Minnesota, it's Minnesota nice. No one's going to tell you it's overpriced. If you actually do get feedback that says you're overpriced, you are really overpriced, because most agents and their buyers will not say that you're overpriced. They will give some generic reason why they're moving on. But the point is, they're moving on. They're not writing on your house, and that's the reason.
Here's a text. What do you guys think of the Elon Trump blowout? Oh man,
You know what?
I think we should skip that.
Well, we don't have to get into the political part. I just think it's. We were talking about it yesterday, Ryan and I. It's just embarrassing. It would be like. Ryan and I together on this team, and we love everything. And then tomorrow, I'm like, oh, that team's horrible, and everyone, it's like, what in the world? So I just think it's embarrassing.
Yeah, what is going on? It is an interesting world. We live in, again, 612-294-6949. The conversation I had with this gentleman who's probably in his mid to late 80s. I asked him, I said, how is farming? I have some friends from New Prague who are farming. And he just said, right now, it's a tough time. He said there is not a lot of money being made by farmers right now. So we talked a little bit about pricing and some different things, and the lack of newer, younger people not going in there. And he said, guess where a lot of farmers make their money?
Selling their, I don't know.
Real estate.
I was going to say selling their land
or renting.
Or renting it, yeah.
Renting their land. So it goes back to what we talked about. Buy something, hold on to it, and call me in 20 years. And most likely you'll have a smile on your face. Now, again, there are additional expenses. You got to be prepared. The furnace could go bad. The AC could go out. So you got to have a little bit of money on the side and be willing to roll with things, but give yourself a little time, Scott.
Yeah.
You ever think about farming?
I think about farming all the time. Sometimes it keeps me up at night.
You're terrible.
I think so much about farming. No, I love our farmers. When you were talking about it, and there's not a lot of money in it, it made me think of before I got in real estate 100 years ago, I owned 3 preschools, daycares, newborns through 12 years old. And there are a bunch of daycare centers, preschools that are being shut down because obviously more people are working at home. And so it's becoming a major problem that people they have no place to bring their kids. And the thing that I found the most interesting is they said that the typical daycare center or preschool has a profit margin of about 1%. And that is always shocking to people because they think, oh my God, I'm paying $300 a week for my kid. These places have to be making $1 zillion, and it is a very, very thin margin. And so anyways, my heart goes out to families that are in that situation where they have to pay for daycare, and now that they can't find it. And so, farmers are being hurt. There's a lot of industries like that are being hurt.
So there's 4 brothers in the O'Neills. I'm the youngest of the 4. And if we ask the 4 brothers, who is the hardest worker in our family? It is our one dear sister, Mary Shannon. Mary Shannon, who has run an in-home daycare for 30 plus years out of the house that we grew up in. She's got 8 to 10 kids every day. I can't go anywhere in New Prague without somebody coming up to me saying, we love your sister. Your sister took care of Jimmy, Johnny, Frankie, Rizzo, whatever. Mary, you are going straight to heaven. I'll tell you. I mean, seriously, my dad used to love to go over there to sit at the daycare and watch Mary in action. Because again, Scott, think about that. Every day you're getting up, you're such a long day. I mean, good for her.
It is a skill. When I owned those preschools and I watched the teachers and the aides and whatever, the ones that were good, which it sounds like Mary is, it is an art form. You have 14 little toddlers
organization
that want to rip each other's heads off because they're toddlers. And then, you have a teacher that comes in and starts singing and everybody just stares at her and they sit down and they do their thing. That's a gift.
Hey, before we leave and break, Ryan Perpich, Ryan, we got to talk about it. The haircut, you have it scheduled, but we're trying to dissuade you. And we need a picture on this. Maybe we'll put it up on our social media. This beautiful head of hair. You can't cut it.
It does look good right now. It's very tempting to say I will be skipping the haircut, but I don't think that it has to happen. It just has to. I'm looking like Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
I love it. Does your girlfriend listen to the shows ever?
I sometimes.
We got to get,
She
yes.
doesn't listen to our show.
Sometimes.
She does not listen to
She
our
listens
show.
to my stories
Yes,
I tell
yes.
after with those fucking real estate.
Okay. You think about it, Ryan. Okay. You think about it, and then maybe we'll reconvene next week.
Well, yeah, I will be off next week. Me and the girlfriend will be up at the cabin, but we'll be discussing. We're driving to Iowa today, so we'll discuss it on the trip. I'll cancel with my barber.
Safe travels, my
Thank
friend.
you.
Yeah, we appreciate Ryan. Hey, Scott, great job today, buddy.
Yeah, good for you. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We will be here like we are every week next weekend. Have a super week.
Yeah, again, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for your support of the O'Neill Foundation of Hope and the House of Hope that we're just opening. Check out o'neillhope.org. We really appreciate your support. And again, you're looking to buy or sell any real estate wherever, Minnesota, Western Wisconsin. The Minnesota real estate team is here for you to serve you and do our best. So thank you everybody for joining us. Enjoy this weekend and take care. Thanks everybody for joining us. Scott, fun show.
Was a good show. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Graduation parties. You want to come with me to 4, 5, 6, 8 graduation
God,
parties?
I do for sure.
You
I
love.
love graduation parties.
Again, congratulations, Sue, Marty. Sue, we're so excited about
Yay.
the wedding today, the big wedding. Thank you all for joining us wherever you caught us on social media. Hope you have a great weekend, you and your families. We'll be back next weekend. Take care.